A hearty welcome once again. In the last session, we have studied about why there is a need of water conservation. In this session 2, we are going to discuss about some more important points why there is a great need of water conservation, plus some of the methods that are applicable to conserve the water and how that can be implemented. And after that, we will be focusing on rainwater harvesting. What is rainwater harvesting and how we can try to harvest the rainwater and how we can utilize. Let's take a look at and try to understand the concepts in a great and the detailed way. Let's discuss some more factors that are responsible for need of conservation of water. As we know that India is a land of rivers. There are the largest and the longest rivers, but there is a great threat to these rivers because due to industrialization, agricultural modernization and urbanization, there are lots of toxic material is discharged and water is polluting at an alarming rate. So in order to keep safe the water of rivers, we need to conserve the water. Now conserving water is one of the great challenge from the environmental point of view, because in order to save and conserve the water resources, the foremost thing has to be done, that is to reduce the wastage of water. Because knowingly and unknowingly the water is wastage in a great quantity, especially due to the carelessness in the bathroom and the washrooms. The tappings or the taps are leaking, and here there is a lots of discharge of water. In other cases, the most of the water is transformed by using the canals and then pipes through the dams, and when this transformation is in process, approximately 50% of water is lost, and because of that there is a great need of conservation of water. It is said that the per capita consumption of water has to be reduced, and some of the great methods of avoiding the wastage must be applied. Next point says that though water resources are depleting, if this rate continues, by the 2025 the larger portion of India will face the severe scarcity of water, and that will put India into the country among the absolute water scarcity. In order to avoid this, we should conserve the water. The last important point why we need to conserve the water, that is, it is universally accepted that water is a renewable resource, but the water is misused by the industries. In the home there is a lots of wastage of water, and this wastage is not stopped. There are no proper functionings and the methods to stop the wastage of water, and we cannot harness our water potential, and because of these all factors there is a lots of growth in the depletion of water resources. So overall, considering these all points, we should feel that there is a great need to conserve the water for the generation and for upcoming generation, because water is essential part of life. Then there are some methods that are widely accepted to conserve the water. Here we shall take a look at about what are the factors or how we can try to conserve the water. Conservation means preventing and controlling the depletion and degradation of water, and the same water is utilized at its best level, not only for present but also for future needs. This is called as conservation of water. And water, though it is essential part, it is mostly demanded, and there is a lots of increasing need of water. There is a short supply and the final uneven distribution of rainfall. Due to this, the conservation has to be done in the proper way. So there are some steps recommended for the conservation of water, and the steps are: first, developing water saving technology. The first and the foremost, we should develop the technology which will look into the saving of water, because wastage of water has a great percentage in India. Then we need to focus on how we can try to prevent the water pollution. And third method, we need to promote the watershed developments, rainwater harvestings, water recycling and reuse. These are some of the modern methods we need to apply, and these are widely accepted to conserve the water at a great extent. So we should focus on that rainwater harvesting. This is one of the most essential and easily available method for the conservation of water. So now we shall discuss about rainwater harvesting, its methods and how it is helpful in the conservation of water. Let's take a look at this is the effective method of rainwater harvesting. The water harvesting means, in this method we not only collect the water but also conserve it for the future use, especially the rainwater. And this is one of the simplest and the most efficient method of water conservation, because in this lots of technology, lots of method and lots of investments are not required, and this is easily applicable in most of the part of country. So water harvesting by the rainwater can be done by two different methods. The first, rainwater harvesting, and second, recharging of groundwater. So we shall study about this one by one. Now what is mean by the rainwater harvesting? Rainwater harvesting means the activity of collecting rainwater directly or recharging it into the ground to improve the groundwater storage, in the aquifer. And it is the most important technique for storing the water, and it can be used during the dry and drought situations. While rainwater harvesting, the water is collected on the rooftops, and from there it can directly lead or transport it to the dry tanks. Then once we decide to have the rainwater harvesting, why should we do it? It's not only the method of conserving the water, but there are some multiple usages of rainwater harvesting. The first one, recharging of groundwater and raising its level. So we can improve the groundwater level. So in case of scarcity of water, we can draw this water with the help of tube wells and tanks. Second, the water of rain which is about to flow away along with the soil erosion and the flooded surrounding areas and directly drain into the sea. So we can stop this and store the water, so water cannot be easily drained into the sea, and we can stop soil erosion plus floods too. Next, the rainwater become lots of polluted. If you store this, we can try to stop the pollution of rainwater. And last one, the meeting of the demand of water requirement in dry season. And the stored water can be specially used during the dry periods. These are what the objectives, and these objectives help us to at least conserve some amount of water in a large quantity. Then there are some methods how we can try to harvest rainwater, and this method is called as rooftop rainwater harvesting. How does it work? Look at to the diagram plus the definitions and the important meanings. Rooftop rainwater harvesting. It is a simple scheme to replenish the groundwater and increase the groundwater level. Then how it is done? It is collected over the rooftops, and especially with the PVC pipes in our house premises, these PVC pipes are channelized to the different parts of the water storage capacities, just like pits, sumps and wells and bore wells. So in all these areas the water is collected, and this collected water can be drawn later on in the dry or the drought season. This is what the diagram, you can just take a look at here. From the rooftop, the water is collected through the PVC pipes, and through the PVC pipes it can be used for the consumption, or it can recharge into the open wells or the percolation pits or into the bore wells, and later on for the consumption purpose we can draw it out. This is very simple method in which lots of efforts are not required. The basic purpose of rainwater harvesting is to maximize and utilize rainwater which will go waste literally. Nearly, if you just take a look at 50,000 liters of rainwater can be harvested from 100 square meter rooftop area, and that is very great amount of water we can easily store, and it does not require lots of expenditure. The cost is also very low. So it is expected that government should make compulsory for all the people, those who are about to build new houses, so in that they can easily store the water for them and for the full family. So government has to make some kind of a compulsions before approving the plan of this. Rainwater harvesting is widely used in Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, some parts of Assam, Rajasthan, and Maharashtra. And many states in the country have made it as a government policy. And this is very simple, practical and cost effective technique, so it can be practiced by any individual in villages also or in cities also. So that is very simple method which doesn't require lots of efforts, and the cost easily can be accepted. So with the help of government, every individual can help at some sort to try to prevent the wastage of rainwater and try to stop the water with the help of rainwater harvesting. This is what the best method is applicable for the conservation of water. That's all for this session. In the last session for the chapter 7, we will be discussing about some advantages, disadvantages and the various techniques used for the conservation of rainwater. Thank you. See you soon.